So in keeping with the theme of I was made to do hard things, I decided last night to make a list of hard things I did this year, even just for a fun exercise to kind of review, like what happened this year, what was hard, what was a struggle. Number one, moved from Edmonton to Vancouver Island. So that was a big deal. Definitely lived in Edmonton for 37 years. So that was a really big move. And I lived in a cabin for 5 months with no Wi-Fi, no TV, and no family. That was weird. It was surreal to have kids and a husband and then to not live with them for so long. And yet I felt so rested. I slept more in that 5 months than I think I've slept in the last 9 years. So that's something I miss, unfortunately. I had no friends. I had no local friends for the majority of this past year. I've now made some in the last few months, but I really had no one. And that was weird. That was really weird and really hard. And I knew it would be like that, but I think you don't really feel it till you're in it at a restaurant eating dinner by yourself on a Friday night. Luckily, I would buy cake and drink wine and snort laugh to the books I was reading, but it was weird. It was a weird experience and it was a hard thing. I put myself out there a ton. I went to a ladies' Bible study and I just sat down and was like, hi, I'm new here. Because it just felt better to embrace the awkwardness than to just sit quietly. So I was vulnerable and I put myself out there and I met people and it was weird, but it was good and I didn't die. I picked up a rat and I had to put it in the garbage because my husband was just gonna let nature take care of it, but it was laying on our rock bed. And I imagined nature was gonna take care of it very slowly. And so I picked up a rat, and the weird thing was my go-to was to grab a spatula from the kitchen and then just call it a day. Like a shovel didn't even cross my mind. I went down with like a burger flipper and was just gonna throw it out and ended up being able to pick it up with some garbage bags. So pretty proud of myself for that. I rescued a puppy, and that's like a child, but worse, and really tiring, but really rewarding. And I love her. Her name's Harlow Margaret, and she's so funny and so cute. And then I watched her get attacked by a pit bull, and that was literally one of the worst things I've ever seen. It was gross. And as much as I feel like I'm really strong and resilient, that traumatized me for like a couple months. It was gross. It was awful. And I just felt like I didn't trust other dogs anymore because of one idiot. And then I went after that pit bull owner and took it as far as having a lawyer send a demand letter. And I was exhausted and frustrated with humanity. And this person just turned out to sort of be a sorry excuse for a human when it comes to owning their own crap. So that was hard. I made mistakes with my staff and I owned them and I said I was sorry. I had courageous conversations, and when some of my staff gave up on themselves, I didn't give up on them. And I watched them grow and shine by first believing in them till they would believe in themselves. Killed the biggest spider you've ever seen with my pants around my ankles. It was awful. I changed my own tire. Well, mostly I did FaceTime my dad for like half an hour, so scrap that one. But I navigated fear, loneliness, imposter syndrome, reconnection. But what I found joy and I found strength. I found that my faith in God grew, and my belief that God is holding me all the time grew. My love for my family grew. This made me cry. My desire to connect as a wife and a mom grew. The most real friendships come when you're vulnerable and you show up for people. And that's what I learned even in making new friends. When you put yourself aside and your own ambitions aside, whether it's for your staff or for new friends or new relationships or your family, you are rewarded hugely. I learned that obedience always comes before blessing. Do the right thing. And with the best intentions, and you'll have the best outcome. And then I stumbled across a list that I forgot I had made. And I called it a 2018-2019 miracle list. And I made a list somewhere in the midst of this move last year of all the miracles I felt God did and the ways that he showed up and showed me that he had my back in a way that was far better than I could ever plan for or imagine. So I would just encourage you to make a list this week of what you struggled with, what was hard, what was beautiful. And it's pretty powerful to look at what things you accomplished and what not accomplished. It's not even about accomplishments, but what hard things you faced this year. And I mean, maybe if you look at it and you think, next year I want to have more grace for others. Next year I want to have forgiveness in my heart, because a spirit of unforgiveness is just a trap and a prison for the person holding the bitterness. So I don't know what it is next year that you want to do. And now that I've made my list of hard things, I think it helps me think of what other things, what areas that I want to grow personally, spiritually, professionally. I want to keep calling my staff out to greatness, because I manage some pretty beautiful people and I know that they are made for more. And that takes courage. That takes the last little bit of cringe-worthy leadership to pull that out of people. But sometimes you just need to tell them what you see in them, because a lot of times they don't see it in themselves. So make a list of the hard things you did this year, and then sit around and feel emotional about them. And maybe eat some more shortbread and drink some more wine. But I did run 5K today, so I'm gonna go have some shortbread now.